In 2022, Anna Brooks married John Miller and moved into his new home in Charleston, South Carolina. John worked as an engineer, while Anna, a former nurse, left her job to dedicate herself to their family. John had a 16-year-old son, Noah, from his previous marriage. Noah suffered from paraplegia following a tragic accident, confining him to a wheelchair. Anna had an 8-year-old son, Liam, who had just started 3rd grade. John sincerely hoped that Anna would become a loving stepmother to Noah. Anna, initially enthusiastic about her new role, tried to build a connection with Noah. She helped him with daily tasks, hoping to ease his challenges. However, her primary focus was on her biological son, Liam. She wanted to create the best possible environment for him. John, aware of the difficulties, tried to balance his time and attention between Noah and Liam. He spent long hours at work, leaving Anna to manage the household and care for both boys. Noah's condition required special care, and John was grateful for Anna's efforts. He believed that with time, they would form a strong, supportive family unit. Anna observed John's dedication to Noah and admired his commitment as a father. She tried to emulate this by involving Noah in family activities and ensuring he felt included. Despite her efforts, she noticed subtle challenges. Noah, struggling with his limitations, often appeared distant and reserved. His emotional barriers made it difficult for Anna to connect with him on a deeper level. Liam, on the other hand, adjusted quickly to his new surroundings. He enjoyed exploring the spacious house and the nearby park. Anna's primary concern was ensuring Liam's happiness and well-being. She enrolled him in various extracurricular activities and made sure he stayed on top of his schoolwork. Her attention to Liam's needs sometimes overshadowed her efforts with Noah, creating an imbalance in the household dynamics. John noticed this imbalance but was unsure how to address it. He had long conversations with Anna, expressing his hopes for a harmonious family. He encouraged her to spend more time with Noah, believing that a stronger bond would eventually form. Anna, though receptive to John's concerns, found it challenging to divide her attention equally. The family's routine revolved around Noah's medical appointments and therapy sessions. These commitments were time-consuming and often took precedence over other activities. Anna accompanied Noah to these appointments, learning about his condition and the necessary care. She became proficient in managing his daily needs, from administering medication to assisting with physical therapy exercises. Despite her growing competence in caring for Noah, Anna felt a persistent sense of detachment. She struggled to connect with him emotionally, a challenge compounded by Noah's reluctance to open up. His silence often left Anna feeling inadequate and frustrated. She confided in John, who reassured her that building a relationship with Noah would take time and patience. She felt that her efforts were unappreciated and that Noah remained distant. This sense of inadequacy began to affect her interactions with both boys. She became more focused on Liam, who provided her with the emotional validation she craved. Her attention to Liam's needs intensified, further widening the gap between her and Noah. John continued to mediate, encouraging family activities that included all members. He organized outings to the park and family dinners, hoping to foster a sense of unity. However, these efforts often fell short, as the underlying tension between Anna and Noah persisted. John's own time was stretched thin, juggling work and family responsibilities. Anna maintained her focus on Liam, ensuring his academic and social success. Noah, meanwhile, remained reliant on John for emotional support. The disparity in Anna's relationship with the two boys became more pronounced, creating an underlying current of discord. John, ever the optimist, believed that with continued effort, the family would find balance. He remained patient and supportive, hoping that time would heal the rifts. Anna, though increasingly disheartened, held on to the hope that her relationship with Noah would improve. She continued her efforts, motivated by her commitment to John and their family. Anna observed that John often missed Liam's school events because of his obligations to Noah. Whether it was a parent-teacher meeting, a school play, or a soccer game, John's absence was a constant. He would always apologize and explain that Noah needed him, but this did little to assuage Anna's growing discontent. She felt that Liam was unfairly deprived of his father's presence and support, which every child deserved. Every time John missed an event or prioritized Noah's needs over family activities that included Liam, Anna's resentment grew. She tried to communicate her concerns to John, but these conversations often ended in frustration. John would acknowledge her feelings, but always reiterated the importance of Noah's care, leaving Anna feeling unheard and invalidated. Anna's resentment didn't stem from a lack of understanding of Noah's needs. Rather, it was the cumulative effect of seeing her own son marginalized. She began to feel that John's actions, while noble in their intent, were inadvertently creating an emotional divide within the family. Her attempts to balance the attention between Noah and Liam seemed futile, and she struggled with feelings of inadequacy as a mother and stepmother. John, on his part, remained largely oblivious to the depth of Anna's discontent. He was consumed with ensuring Noah's well-being and often failed to notice the subtle signs of Anna's growing frustration. He genuinely believed that with enough time and effort, Anna would come to see the necessity of his actions and the importance of Noah's needs. He underestimated the emotional toll this imbalance was taking on Anna and, by extension, on their family. Simple conversations turned into arguments, and moments meant for family bonding were marred by underlying discontent. Anna began to withdraw emotionally, finding it increasingly difficult to mask her feelings. She spent more time focusing on Liam, ensuring that he felt loved and supported. But this only highlighted the disparity in attention within the family. Liam, though young, sensed the tension. He noticed how often his stepbrother required his father's help, and how his mother's mood would shift when his father wasn't around. Liam's understanding of the situation was limited, but he felt the effects of the family's strained dynamics. He often sought solace in Anna, who provided him with the reassurance and attention he craved. Anna's frustration began to manifest in small yet significant ways. She became less patient with Noah, finding herself irritated by tasks that once didn't bother her. She started to see Noah not just as a child in need of care, but as the source of her son's and her own emotional neglect. John, noticing Anna's growing detachment, tried to bridge the gap by organizing family activities that included both boys. However, these efforts often fell flat. The underlying tension was too great to be resolved by mere gestures. Anna's attempts to discuss her feelings with John continued to fall on deaf ears. John's responses, though well-meaning, were inadequate. He would often say, "Noah needs us, Anna. This is temporary. Liam will understand when he's older." But these reassurances did little to comfort Anna. She felt trapped in a cycle where her needs and the needs of her son were consistently placed second. The emotional toll began to affect Anna's overall well-being. She became more withdrawn, less enthusiastic about family activities, and increasingly isolated. Her relationship with John, once filled with hope and promise, was now strained and fraught with unspoken grievances. She found herself questioning her decisions, her role in the family, and her ability to navigate the complex dynamics of being both a mother and a stepmother. Anna's resentment towards Noah, and by extension John, solidified. She began to see Noah not as an innocent child in need of care, but as the obstacle standing between her and a balanced, harmonious family life. Anna's attempts to express how neglected Liam felt were met with the same response. "Noah needs special care, Anna. This is just the way things are." John's unwavering focus on Noah's needs left Anna feeling unheard and unvalued, exacerbating her feelings of isolation. She started to see John not as a supportive partner, but as an enabler of the very situation that was causing her so much pain. Anna's resentment began to shift from Noah to John. She became increasingly angry with John for his inability to recognize how much Liam was suffering due to the imbalance in attention. John's well-intentioned but ultimately dismissive reassurances did little to alleviate Anna's frustration. Her thoughts darkened as she contemplated how much simpler life would be without Noah. These thoughts were initially fleeting, but became more frequent as her resentment grew. She began to envision a life where Liam received the attention and support he deserved, free from the constraints of Noah's condition. These thoughts, though disturbing, provided Anna with a perverse sense of clarity and purpose. The emotional toll of her resentment started to manifest in her behavior. Anna became increasingly distant and irritable. Small tasks that involved Noah, such as helping him with meals or assisting with his therapy, became sources of intense frustration. She found herself snapping at Noah for minor infractions and avoiding interactions with him whenever possible. Her patience, once abundant, was now in short supply. Liam, though young, was not oblivious to the changes in the household. He sensed his mother's frustration and saw how often his father's attention was diverted towards Noah. The once happy and cohesive family unit was now fraught with tension and unspoken grievances. Liam's own feelings of neglect were compounded by the strained atmosphere, leaving him confused and anxious. Anna's internal struggle reached a boiling point. She could no longer ignore the impact Noah's presence was having on her and Liam's lives. Her resentment had morphed into a more sinister form of anger, one that clouded her judgment and eroded her sense of morality. She began to see Noah not as a child in need, but as an obstacle to her happiness and Liam's well-being. Arguments became a regular occurrence, with Anna accusing John of neglecting Liam in favor of Noah. John's defenses, centered on Noah's needs, only served to deepen Anna's sense of alienation. She felt trapped in a situation where her voice was unheard and her needs unmet. She began to seriously contemplate ways to remove Noah from their lives. What started as fleeting thoughts of a life without Noah evolved into a cold and calculated consideration of how to make it happen. She envisioned scenarios where Noah's absence would be seen as a tragic accident, freeing her and Liam from the burdens she believed he imposed on them. Her planning became more deliberate. She started to observe Noah's routines and identify potential opportunities where an accident could plausibly occur. These thoughts, while deeply troubling, provided Anna with a sense of control and agency that she felt she had lost. The resentment that had taken root was now blossoming into a dangerous resolve. Anna's demeanor continued to change. She became colder, more detached, and increasingly focused on her plans. The loving mother and wife she once was had been replaced by someone consumed by bitterness and anger. Her interactions with John and Noah were marked by a chilling indifference, masking the turmoil within. As the days passed, Anna's plans took on a more concrete form. She meticulously thought through the details, ensuring that whatever happened would appear accidental. The resentment that had grown within her had now become the driving force behind her actions. She was prepared to do whatever it took to reclaim the life she believed was rightfully hers and Liam's. In December 2023, Anna Brooks made the chilling decision to eliminate Noah. Her resentment had reached a peak, and she believed that the only way to restore balance in her family and ensure Liam's happiness was to remove Noah from their lives. She started to devise a plan that would make Noah's death appear as a tragic accident, allowing her to escape suspicion and achieve her goal. Anna's meticulous nature came to the forefront as she began planning. She considered various scenarios, analyzing the potential risks and outcomes of each one. Her primary objective was to make the incident look completely accidental, leaving no trace of foul play. She knew that any suspicion could lead to an investigation that would unravel her carefully constructed plan. She decided that pushing Noah down the stairs would be the most plausible scenario. Their house in Charleston, South Carolina, had a steep staircase that could easily be the setting for a fatal accident. Noah, being wheelchair-bound and dependent on others for mobility, would be particularly vulnerable. Anna began to observe Noah's routines more closely, looking for the perfect opportunity to execute her plan. During this period, Liam noticed the changes in his mother's behavior. Anna had always been attentive and affectionate, but now she seemed distant and preoccupied. She was more irritable and often lost in thought. Liam, being only 8 years old, couldn't comprehend the depth of his mother's turmoil. But he sensed that something was terribly wrong. He saw her becoming more detached, especially towards Noah, and couldn't understand why his mother was acting so differently. Anna's detachment from Noah became more pronounced. She avoided spending time with him, delegating his care to John as much as possible. Her interactions with Noah were cold and mechanical, lacking the warmth that might have been expected from a stepmother. She distanced herself emotionally, perhaps as a way to steel herself for the act she was planning. Her focus shifted almost entirely to perfecting her plan. She ran through the details in her mind repeatedly, ensuring that nothing was left to chance. She considered the timing, the positioning, and even the aftermath. Anna rehearsed the scenario mentally, preparing herself for the moment she would push Noah's wheelchair down the stairs. To avoid arousing suspicion, Anna maintained a semblance of normalcy in her daily activities. She continued to take care of Liam and manage the household, but her thoughts were consumed by her sinister plan. The tension within her grew, and she became increasingly paranoid about being discovered. She double-checked everything, making sure that no one would be able to link her to the planned accident. She knew that she had to act soon before her nerves betrayed her. The constant stress was taking its toll, and she feared that someone might notice the changes in her behavior. To mitigate this, she made an effort to appear as calm and collected as possible, hiding her inner turmoil from John and Liam. John, preoccupied with Noah's care and his work as an engineer, failed to notice the full extent of Anna's transformation. He attributed her mood swings and distant behavior to the stress of adjusting to their new family dynamic. In March 2024, Anna Brooks decided to put her cold, calculated plan into action. She had spent months meticulously planning every detail to ensure that Noah's death would appear as a tragic accident. The day she chose to execute her plan was a typical weekday when John was at work, leaving her alone with Noah and Liam. That morning, Anna went through her usual routine, making breakfast and seeing Liam off to school. She maintained a facade of normalcy, suppressing the anxiety and dread that churned inside her. She kept herself composed, knowing that any slip-up could arouse suspicion. As the afternoon approached, Anna prepared for what she had decided was the perfect moment. She waited until Liam returned home from school and was occupied with his homework in the living room, away from where the incident would take place. Noah, as usual, was in his wheelchair in his room. Anna called Noah, telling him she needed his help with something upstairs. Noah, trusting and unaware of the danger, complied. Anna positioned his wheelchair at the top of the steep staircase. Her heart pounded and her hands trembled, but she steeled herself, knowing that hesitation could ruin everything. With a swift and forceful push, Anna sent Noah's wheelchair tumbling down the stairs. Noah's scream echoed through the house, followed by a sickening thud as he hit the bottom. The house fell into an eerie silence, only broken by the sound of Liam's hurried footsteps as he rushed to see what had happened. Anna quickly descended the stairs, forcing herself to appear panicked and horrified. She found Noah lying motionless at the foot of the stairs. She knelt beside him, checking for signs of life, but it was clear that Noah was gone. Her plan had worked. The scene looked like a tragic accident. However, Anna's sense of triumph was short-lived. As she looked up, she saw Liam standing at the top of the stairs, his face pale and eyes wide with shock. He had witnessed everything. The truth of what he had seen was clear to him, despite his young age. He understood that his mother had deliberately caused Noah's death. Anna's mind raced. She couldn't allow Liam to reveal the truth. She approached him, her face a mask of concern and urgency. "Liam," she said, her voice trembling, "you mustn't tell anyone what you saw. It was an accident. If anyone finds out, they'll take me away, and you'll be all alone." Liam, confused and terrified, nodded slowly. He didn't fully understand the implications, but the fear of losing his mother and being left alone overwhelmed him. He agreed to keep the secret, not knowing how heavy the burden would become. Anna called 911, her voice filled with feigned panic and distress. The emergency responders arrived quickly, but there was nothing they could do. Noah was pronounced dead at the scene, his death ruled an unfortunate accident. The authorities saw no immediate reason to suspect foul play, and Anna's performance as the grieving stepmother was convincing enough to allay any doubts. John was devastated by the news. He couldn't comprehend the loss of his son and struggled with overwhelming grief. Anna comforted him, playing the role of a supportive wife, while inwardly relieved that her plan had succeeded. She believed that with Noah gone, the family could finally move forward. However, Liam was deeply affected by what he had witnessed. He struggled with feelings of fear, guilt, and confusion. He couldn't reconcile the loving mother he knew with the woman who had committed such a horrific act. The weight of the secret he carried was unbearable, and he found himself haunted by nightmares and constant anxiety. Liam's behavior changed. He became withdrawn and sullen, unable to express the turmoil inside him. He avoided Anna, fearing her wrath if he accidentally revealed the truth. His school performance declined, and he became increasingly isolated, unable to share his burden with anyone. Anna noticed the change in Liam but attributed it to the trauma of losing Noah. She tried to reassure him, but her attempts were half-hearted. She was more concerned with maintaining her facade and ensuring that no one suspected her involvement in Noah's death. Despite her efforts, Anna couldn't shake the feeling of unease. She constantly feared that Liam might slip up and reveal the truth. She watched him closely, her paranoia growing with each passing day. The once serene and composed woman was now living in a state of constant vigilance and fear. Liam, trapped in his silent torment, didn't know how to cope. He felt a crushing guilt for keeping the secret, and a deep fear of what might happen if he told the truth. The image of Noah's fall replayed in his mind, a constant reminder of the horror he had witnessed and the burden he carried. By the summer of 2024, the weight of the secret had become unbearable for Liam. The guilt and fear had taken a severe toll on his young mind. He could no longer keep the truth hidden, feeling the pressing need to reveal what he had witnessed. One evening, unable to bear the burden any longer, Liam gathered the courage to tell his father everything. John was initially in disbelief. He couldn't comprehend that his wife, Anna, whom he had trusted and loved, was capable of such a heinous act. He listened as Liam recounted the events of that fateful day, describing how Anna had deliberately pushed Noah down the stairs. John's shock turned to anger and heartbreak as the realization sank in. He knew he had to act on the information to seek justice for his son Noah. John immediately contacted the police, who reopened the investigation into Noah's death. Given the new evidence provided by Liam's testimony, the authorities began a thorough examination of the circumstances surrounding the incident. They re-interviewed witnesses, re-examined the physical evidence, and scrutinized Anna's behavior and actions leading up to and following Noah's death. The trial began on June 14, 2024. It was a highly publicized case, drawing significant media attention due to the tragic and sensational nature of the crime. The courtroom was packed with reporters, spectators, and members of the community who had come to witness the proceedings. Liam was called to testify against his mother. It was an incredibly difficult and emotional experience for him. Standing in the witness box, he recounted the details of the day Noah died, describing how he had seen Anna push Noah down the stairs. His testimony was clear and unwavering, painting a vivid picture of the premeditated nature of the act. John watched his son with a mixture of pride and sorrow. He knew how much courage it took for Liam to speak the truth, and he was heartbroken that his son had to endure such a traumatic experience. John himself testified, sharing his disbelief and the emotional toll the revelation had taken on their family. The defense tried to paint a different picture, suggesting that Liam was confused or mistaken about what he had seen. They argued that Anna was a loving mother who had only ever cared for Noah and Liam. However, the prosecution presented a compelling case, backed by forensic evidence and expert testimonies that supported Liam's account. Anna sat stoically throughout the trial, her demeanor cold and detached. She maintained her innocence, claiming that Noah's death was a tragic accident and that she was being wrongfully accused. However, her lack of emotion and the overwhelming evidence against her swayed the jury's opinion. After several weeks of intense testimony and deliberation, the jury reached a verdict. Anna was found guilty of first-degree murder. The judge sentenced her to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The courtroom erupted in a mix of relief and sorrow. While justice had been served for Noah, the family was left to grapple with the aftermath of such a traumatic event. John now faced the daunting task of rebuilding his family without Anna. He focused on supporting Liam, who was deeply affected by the loss of his brother and the betrayal by his mother. John sought counseling for Liam to help him process his emotions and cope with the trauma he had experienced.